Welcome to another video on my channel. Today we are going to be tackling something that has been sorely neglected, and that is my mend it pile. Shamefully, there has been an accumulation of a basket's worth of projects that need to be done. Some of this stuff has been on the docket for years, and I think it's time to address it. I have some small repairs that need to be made, some seasonal upkeep that I like to do on items in my wardrobe to make sure that they stay in the best shape possible season to season, and also some alterations. So I'm going to take you along with me and hopefully share some pointers that might help extend the life of your garments as well. So first up, I've got two repairs that need to be done on my sewing machine. I'm gonna start with that because I'm not the most confident sewing machine sewer. I actually really prefer to use hand sewing techniques to alter or repair my garments. So the first item up is this shirt that I bought from Mango, like maybe 7 years ago. It used to have like a waist tie, like a panel at the bottom that was just like a tie in the front. And I really didn't like that. So I picked the stitches and removed the panel entirely, but it's left this raw hem. So since it's a lot of surface area to cover and a pretty straightforward job, I'm just gonna run that right through the sewing machine. And then the second job for the sewing machine is going to be this vintage dress. So it's like a mid-calf, it hits like mid-calf. This is authentic 90s vintage. My mom gave this to me. It's one of my favorite pieces, and I did not wear it at all last year just because it is so fragile at the waist seam here. It used to have a double seam and the seam sort of fell, but so it's missing a line of stitches here to sort of reinforce that skirt. So I didn't want to wear it and potentially further damage it without repairing it. And it would be a shame to not wear this for another spring season just because I'm lazy. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this one as well. So I just finished up repairing these two. I'm really happy with how they came out. Again, it was a quick sewing job. This, I repaired the line of the waist. You can't really tell, and that's what I was going for. This repair, I'm happy with how it came out. I have to go in and clean up some of these threads from the loose hem, but honestly, it's a clean, really tiny hem. Essentially, I wanted to make this just stable enough that I could throw it into the washing machine and it wouldn't just like start disintegrating from the bottom half here. Regretfully, this is one of those things that has been in my to-do list and my mend it pile for years. And it really did. It only took like 15 minutes for this alone. So yeah, finally got it done. So most of the rest of the repairs that I need to do are hand sewing. So I'm going to save those for, do them all at the same time. But these guys are all t-shirts that I want to cut. And I've been hesitant to take scissors to fabric, but it's time. So let's go ahead and cut these bad boys. So 3 of these t-shirts are rejects from my husband. And I think that I'm going to use them as like templates to test out before I cut the shirt that I really want to be cut. So I've got a Lana Del Rey shirt that I got when I saw her live for the first time. I really want to make like a low, kind of wide scoop neck so that it can hang off my shoulders. And yeah, so I thought I'd use a few of these shirts to test it out. This is a little black Jack Daniel's honey shirt that I wanted to cut for working out. So I'm gonna cut the sleeves off this one. I think the issue with this is to try to find the right area where to cut these down off the shoulders. Oh boy. I should probably think this through before just cutting into these, but I don't know. I'm just gonna do it, I think. Okay, we did it. We cut one shirt. This may be too wide. Let me try this on. All right, this is where this shirt lands. Pretty loose. So, all right, this might be a little bit too aggressive of a cut. However, is it the perfect size of a cut? Probably not, no. I do think that this is a little loose. Okay, I just cut the next one. It's looking promising. This is more the slouch and the drape that I'm looking for. I think that this shirt is a little bit smaller than the first one that I cut, so that might make some of the difference in the drape. I am actually happy with the way that this one came out. This is like the perfectly like slouchy neckline that I'm looking for. So I think I'll leave it at that. I am debating cutting the hem of it. For now, I think I'll leave it, but that's an easy, like if I want to cut the hem, I'll just snip it right off. Okay, I did it. I cut the hem. It just seemed like the right thing to do. It's low stakes. Again, this is not my shirt. And it's not the shirt that I intend to cut. I think cutting the hem on this does make it just that much more slouchy. So I'm happy with this one. This one I'm actually going to hold on to, I think, and see if I get some wear out of it. I'm going to hold off on cutting the hems of the sleeves, although I am debating it. I've got one more test shirt that I wanted to cut from the group of shirts from my husband. There's a black one. So I'm gonna try to cut that one, and then I'm gonna go on and cut the Lana Del Rey shirt. Fingers crossed. All right, that's not so bad. So maybe I've got the hang of it. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the Lana Del Rey shirt. Okay. Is that gonna be it? We're gonna cut down with this? Yes. Okay, I took off my other shirt to try this one on. I also cut the hem. Fingers crossed. That's what I was going for. All right, honestly, first impressions, I could cut the hem a little bit shorter even, but honestly, since it's a raw hem, I'll give it a little bit of wiggle room in case it like unravels a little bit. I think that I'm gonna leave it at that, but I'm actually really happy with how this came out. And the final shirt that needed cutting, this one is just the one that I was gonna use as a gym shirt, so it doesn't really matter how well it comes out. I did make it more of like a cropped length because I like to wear cropped shirts when I exercise. That experiment went a little bit better than I thought it was going to, honestly. And now I've got these pieces and strips of shirt. I'm actually interested in making like a rag rug one day, so I'm gonna hold on to these pieces and maybe reuse them to make a little rag rug in the future. So before I move on to the hand sewing, there is something else that I wanted to take care of, and that's more of like a general upkeep for my wardrobe to make sure that my things last as long as possible. And that is shoe repair, but not, I guess not repair so much as upkeep. So we're gonna start with my absolute shit kickers, my Steve Madden boots that I wear throughout the winter season. So they've seen better days. The toes are looking a little rough. So these have seen one winter. I want to make sure that they survive for as many as possible. I've got, this is from the brand Color Lock. It's a mild leather cleaner. So first we're gonna go in with that I have like a little rag. So we're gonna do the color cleaner, or no, the mild leather cleaner, and then we wait for that to dry. So I'll do that to all of them. And then you go in with the leather protection cream. Right, so you leave this on for 10 minutes and then you buff it is what it says. So I'll leave it on and then go back and buff it with another cloth. And then to end, I have shoe wax polish in the color black. All of my leather shoes are black leather. So I'm gonna go in and wax them once I'm done with that. So let's do it. So I've got the 2 pairs of sandals here that I wear all summer. These ones were new last year. These were 2 years ago. So I just want to make sure that they remain in good shape. These are 2 pairs of shoes that I wear less frequently, but still pretty frequent. I honestly haven't cleaned both of them with this leather cleaner or polished them at all since I've had them, so it's just time. These are some really nice Fry boots that I got from the Real for $50, if you can believe that. And these are my go-to loafers for work and other situations. It looks like I've got a little tear there as well. So that's where the wax comes in handy, is it can help kind of re-dye those areas and make it look not so beat up. Okay, so my black leather shoes are all somewhat drying from the shoe wash. Next, I'm gonna do the leather protection cream, but while they're still drying, I've got this pair of Reeboks that I bought. I think I asked for them for my birthday for last year, so they're relatively new. They originally came with these tan laces that obviously match the color of the shoe. I was not really reaching for these shoes a lot, and I was like upset because I really had my eye set on these. I didn't want to have to resell them. I wanted to get use out of them, and I thought that I would with this color palette, tan and black, but I just wasn't. And I thought, you know what? Let me get a new pair of shoelaces. Maybe if I had like a pop of color that went on these bad boys, something unexpected, I would grab for them more. So I picked up a pair of lavender periwinkle laces. I wanted periwinkle, it's leaning a little bit more lavender, but that's totally fine. So I'm just gonna lace up these sneakers. We're gonna try something a little bit different and see if I don't reach for these more often. So I went ahead and I did the I did the leather protection cream on these guys and all of the other shoes after I did the mild leather cleaner. And now I'm gonna go in with the shoe wax polish. So this one is black, if you can see there. It's in the shade black. These you do need to buy in the correct shade for your shoes, so be careful. You know, they come dyed, so this is where they're going to like redeposit that pigment into your shoes and make them look really nice, but just make sure that you get the correct color for your shoe. It gets really soft under your finger, and then I'm just gonna go in and kind of like paint it in and over the shoe. And I think that's like always what makes it look like really different and really nice and almost brand new. So I'm gonna do that on all of these shoes. Okay, so here these are. I did all the other ones as well, as you saw, but I feel like these boots, the ones that I wear every single day, they've seen snow, rain, salt. So yeah, these ones were definitely a bit more beat up than the other ones. And I think that they came out looking really nice. The other ones, I think that you're not going to see as drastic of a change as you would on these ones, just because of how beat up that they get from my daily wear. There was a line here from the salt, which is completely gone after the cleaning. And I think the toe looked like it was losing a little bit of its color, but with some of that black wax, it came right back. So I'm really happy with how they came out. That's something that's like a little bit time intensive, but really is not that much time when it comes to the grand scheme of things. And for me, it's worth it to kind of put a little bit of time and effort into taking care of my things. We are losing daylight hours. The other repairs took me a little while. So the next up is the hand sewing. And when I do my hand sewing, I like to sit back and relax and do it while I'm watching something or listening to something, and I have like a cozy drink. So I think I'm going to break for now and go get something to eat, get cozy, and then come back and I'll finish up with the hand sewing later tonight. All right, so I'm gonna go do that and check back in once I'm back. It is now the next day. I, in fact, did not get back to doing hand sewing last night. However, I'm going to try to finish it up today. Next up is going to be repairing holes. So I've got like this knit. I've actually never worn this because it has always had this hole in it. It was a hand-me-down, but so it has that hole in the back. It's pretty cute. So I'm just gonna stitch that up. It should be an easy fix. I've got a few pairs of leggings that have holes on the inner thighs. I'm gonna try to repair those, even though some of them I've repaired a few times, so I'm not sure how much life they have left. I've got a hole in the neck of my turtleneck, which is just like a base layer that I use a bunch in the winter. I've got a lot of socks that need holes repaired in the toes and things. I like to repair my socks because I think that, yeah, we should take care of the things that we already own. Plus, I like to buy expensive fancy socks, so I'm not gonna just throw those away if they get one hole in them. For socks, I do utilize the darning method, so I definitely recommend, if you're interested in repairing your own socks, looking up a video on darning. It's a fairly easy, straightforward process, and it doesn't really require too much precision either. Then these are my grandfather's pants from the Navy. So they're like 100% wool, so good. They fit me perfectly. They were my grandfather's when he was 18. So, but they've got this crazy, like, this whole panel is buttoned up. And one of the buttons popped off. I believe it's right here. Yeah, one of the buttons popped off. So I just need to repair that button for these pants. And then I've got these linen shorts that the waistband always gets so twisted. It's like currently twisted. So I'm gonna try to like iron straight the waistband, and then I'm gonna sew it down. I'm gonna sew through it so that it doesn't twist anymore. So hopefully that'll make these shorts a lot more wearable for me. And then I've got these two pieces that are both hem repairs. So this is a dress from Everlane. The hem on the inside is falling, has fallen. So that needs a repair. And these are like some nice slacks that, yeah, so this entire leg, the hem has come undone. So I need to repair that as well. And then I want to also frog this sweater. This was my first ever, technically my first ever knit piece. I never wore it. It did not come out right. The neckline came out really wrong, and I tried to go in and tighten it up with some thread, and it just like sits wrong. It doesn't look right. It's also just, it's got a lot of pulls in it from being like thrown around in my yarn storage. So I'm gonna just frog this whole thing because I'm not ever gonna wear it. So I'd rather use the yarn for something else. And then I have this tote bag, this vintage tote bag. That's like one of my favorite things. And the strap is getting a little raggedy. So to repair this, I'm gonna try to sew down the outer edge to just give it a little bit of reinforcement and to secure these like loose threads. And I think that's it. So I'm gonna throw a video on and I'm just gonna get to hand sewing. Oh, before I do that, first let me show you my materials that I use. So I do embroidery as a hobby. So I've got a collection of embroidery floss, which is really great because I honestly, any color I need, I just have to pick from here. These threads are really great because you can pick whatever color that goes with like your sock that you're repairing or the hole that you're repairing. For the hem repairs with the dress, I may go in with some sewing thread with that because it's a little bit thinner than the embroidery thread. But honestly, I would recommend if you're going to be like repairing socks or doing like small hand sewing repairs, I really like using the embroidery floss. Just because, again, you can select the color, but also because you can pull individual strands. It's like a six or seven ply. I honestly should probably know what the ply is. But so you can pull individual strands and you can like use one strand if you want something really thin, or if you have like a thicker knit, like for that gray tank top that I'm gonna repair, I'll probably group up like 2 or 3 of the yarns so that it creates like a thicker yarn. So I'm gonna get comfy and I'm gonna go do that. So I just finished up repairing my tomato bag handle. I'll show you the close-up of the work there. So I just went in with a similarly colored thread and I reinforced that section. So, you know, it's gonna give this tote bag a lot more life, and I really love this tote bag. So I definitely want to take care of it and make sure that it lives a nice long life. But yeah, I think like the extra thread there, I went in really thick with it and it's just like even more reinforced now in that area. I also have completed repairing all my other like hem lines, the back of my turtleneck. All I've got left are these socks, and I do still need to frog that sweater, but that's going to be pretty simple. It's just a matter of cutting and unraveling. But that was, yeah, like the better part of an afternoon that I spent hand sewing those things. Yesterday I did the machine sewing and cutting the shirts. That was a few hours of work. So over one weekend, I tackled my mend it pile. I have a lot of pieces back in my wardrobe that have been retired that I've honestly forgotten about that I'm looking forward to style in the upcoming season. In the meantime, I'm gonna take these socks and I'm gonna finish them up and have a nice relaxing evening, and I'll see you in the next one.